First of all, we would like to say thank you to Pastor Steve Peets, who recently vacated the position of ATSIM Director. Steve had committed 11 years working for ATSIM and serving in this position, and we want to wish both him and Kim God's blessing for the future. There's been other changes in and around the conferences with our ATSIM leaders. Pastor Eddie Hasty was appointed the role of ATSIM Director in Northern Australian Conference. Luke Stewart accepted a call from South Queensland, and Pastor David Garrard moved to WA to take up a new role at Mumarafa College as a new incoming principal. Other changes around the place saw a Bible worker coming into Greater Sydney Conference. Henry Dunn from Kempsey is a Mumarafa College student who recently was baptised. He and his wife Reness have relocated with their family to Sydney to accept a position as a Bible worker in Redfern. Henry will assist Pastor Horace Evans and provide a leading role as an Indigenous leader at the Centre of Influence located in Surrey Hills. This is what we envision would happen with our Mumarafa College students, that they would be engaged in ministry and supporting their local pastors and providing leadership through Bible study and church ministry. So we thank God for Henry and for his wife Reness and their family for undertaking a new challenge in ministering to their people in Sydney. In South Australia, the South Australian ATSIM team welcomed in the appointment of Dean Hisco as a Bible worker to the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander members on the south side of Adelaide. Both Dean and Eric Hoare are continuing to gain ground in and around Adelaide, and they minister to the folks there, and they will continue to expand the work as they focus on missions to these cities. Some of the highlights that's happening around is our Stories, God Stories, a new booklet that we launched in January, and it has lots of little stories and testimonies of selected members from around the country and their encounter with God. Each minister received their copy at the AUC Ministers Summit in February, and this is another ATSIM resource that has been well received by the church, and it will be used as an outreach tool along with the Good News magazines and the collection of posters that we currently have to share. Also, another highlight was the Empower AUC Ministers Summit in February. Most of our ATSIM ministers attended the AUC Summit at Avondale College, and it was very encouraging to see our ATSIM leaders and Bible workers networking with other pastors around the country, sharing ideas. At the beginning of the introductory meeting, ATSIM conducted a Welcome to Country via video which Kelly Jackman effectively put together. It highlighted the ATSIM work and its people and how they are connected to country. We were proud to see the church acknowledge also Pastor Don Felberg's ministry. Both he and his wife Eileen do an amazing work in soul winning, and they cover huge distances, most by car, in searching and out new contacts and reaching members in remote areas and encouraging them. And so they were amongst others who received a commendation for their ministry by the Australian Union Conference. At Haas Bluff in the Northern Territory, in April, the first baptism from this little community was conducted by President Pastor Darren Slade. Douglas Malta joined our church and became the first from his community. And because of his influence, we know that we will see many more give their lives to Jesus in this area. The groundwork of Rosie and Emmanuel Kingsley proved to be successful, and the day was celebrated with members from other areas such as Tennant Creek, Munkata and Fink in attendance. In Sydney, Wahroonga Church hosted a ATSIM Day. The mission news was taken by Pastor Don Felberg, and he also preached for the service, sharing highlights of what's happening around the country through his PowerPoints and stories. Pastor Richard Reed did an amazing job of being the host pastor and made sure that everyone was looked after. In Whyalla, I witnessed also a small church that is making a huge impact in their community. Helen Hisco, who is the ADRA Op Shop coordinator, did an amazing job of linking contacts from the store to the church. The little church was full on Sabbath, and the luncheon was a hit. It's what makes a program successful, when you have key people who are able to link up with the unchurched families and invite them to these special events. And that's what makes ATSIM work so exciting. The Mamarafa Gospel Crusade was only just a few weeks ago, the most recent highlight. And we took 7 current students, and they participated in promoting and evangelising out in a very remote area of Western Australia. Amongst the staff were Pastor Don Felberg, Mamarafa Liaison, Dana Garlett, who's a Mamarafa Registrar, and Pastor Leo Wright of Kempsey, and myself. The crusade began with Pastor George Munoz preaching at the Kalgoorlie Church and worshipping and praying with the group before they departed for Leonora for their first meeting. In all, they conducted 12 meetings in the 14 days and visited 10 communities, promoting and preaching the gospel message of Jesus. Travelled from Perth and as far as the South Australian and Northern Territory border. The meetings were each evening, and as the appeals were made, the people responded. And in some places, most of the audience responded for prayer and came forward to renew their connection with Jesus. Mamarafa will play an important role in ministering to those contacts as they become students and return to their communities and share the good news and the experiences that they've had with their family and friends. In conclusion, the first half of the year has gone extremely quickly for me in this new role. I have endeavoured to get around and visit all of our ATSIM directors in their conferences. The second half of the year, I will still be able to meet with Pastor Eddie Hasty in North Queensland and visit his region. But I'm happy with the results of how things are going and how things have transitioned for Mamarafa College with the new enrolments this year. I believe that ATSIM is continuing to grow and expand as a result of the work that's happening at Mamarafa. And also the hard work that Pastor Don and Eileen Felberg are doing as they visit some of these remote areas of WA and Northern Territory. The second half of the year we'll be gearing up for the National ATSIM Camp, which is in Victor Harbor, South Australia. That'll happen in January 2019, and I know that many of our ATSIM members are eager to come together at this time to worship and fellowship. And so we praise God for the results, and we look forward to seeing His handwork in and through those who are engaging in this great work. Thank you.